What's up, everybody? Dead Girl here. Happy Wednesday. Third show this week, right? So we had our show Sunday with Gina Mangeli and Kim Wilson of Spooky Empire. We had our show with our friends from Haunt Scene and James yesterday talking about spooky. Today, I have the owner, talented, amazing woman behind the Hallow Pumpkin, and we're going to talk about her shop and all the amazing things that she has in store. So, let's go say hello. Hey, Yolexis.
Hey, Erica.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. It's ungodly hot out. It's a little brutal.
Very much so.
It definitely feels like summer has fully kicked in at this point.
For sure.
Now, for the folks at home who are not familiar with yourself or the Hallow Pumpkin, could you tell us a little bit about you and just give us a little bit about you? And it can be anything from, we like long walks on the beach or cold air conditioning, whatever you want.
Well, my name is Yolexis. I'm originally from New York, and that's where I started my shop. Long story short, it was Pop 20NY. I started back in the summer of 2016. And so I've always loved spooky stuff, but I always would mix in other genres when I would craft. But December of last year, I decided to hone in on the horror genre, the spooky, the magical. And so that's how the Hallow Pumpkin came to be. And so most of the stuff we have is handmade. We make ourselves. And I've been sewing since I started, maybe a little bit before. I started my shop a few months after I picked it up. And I've been going ever since. So it's been pretty cool.
That's awesome. See, I remember back in my day when I was younger and I was into all the gothy and the spooky stuff, you couldn't find much of anything. There were no fun spooky bags, there were no fun spooky wallets, earrings, none of that. And it was even hard to find girl clothes. There were a couple of guys' clothes, but you couldn't find anything for women or kids. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm and now it's become this whole renaissance, I guess, where you can find it so easily, and there are so many things from, now there's kid stuff, and now there's earrings and backpacks and clothes and watches, and you can find bathroom stuff, just all kinds of craziness. So I'm so happy that you have created a place rather, that we can come and we can peruse your wares, and you basically cover everything in your shop.
We try, we really do. It started with, I mainly sew bags and accessories, wallets, totes, that kind of thing. But I knew that, like you said, there are certain things that aren't out there 24/7, or at least not year round. And so we expanded to add t-shirts, home goods like kitchen towels. There's mugs in the shop. There are bath bombs. It's a whole plethora of spooky stuff. But yeah, we really try to cover all our bases to some degree and support other small shops who make the goods, while we also offer what we can, because I don't want to try to replicate other lines that are out there,
Right.
because there are people who make the goods for themselves, and why not just support them and then try to shine a light on what I've been doing for the genre that's been growing and very quickly. I feel like a lot of people have joined horror fandoms, especially from what I'm seeing on the interwebs. So it's pretty cool to see. Very exciting.
It's become almost like mainstream now, right? Because I mean,
very much. Yeah.
We had kind of talked about this when I visited the shop. It's like when we were younger, there was none of this was around. And it was hard to find this stuff. And we were the odd ones out. Like, we were the weird kids that, you know, we'd get picked on and bullied, and all the, like, the pretty popular kids would just kind of turn their nose up. But now it's almost become, like, trendy to like the stuff that we've liked for years. And I'm not knocking on those people that are discovering their spooky side. I'm all for it. But it's definitely a very different era than, you know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago even.
Yeah, I think there's definitely been a shift in, I would say, I don't want to say what people find acceptable, but I think people are becoming more comfortable in expressing themselves.
Yes.
Might be what it is. Because even years ago, if I saw something Jack Skellington or Nightmare Before Christmas, it was like, oh my gosh, they have Jack stuff, and it'll be one or two items. But now you Google on Etsy or just any platform, a Jack bag, a t-shirt, whatever it is, and it's everywhere. People love it.
Oh yeah, and you can find just about anything. Like, literally, if you Google Nightmare Before Christmas now, you can find entire bathroom sets, bedroom sets, like kitchen stuff. It's insane. And when I was looking for this stuff, it was like nowhere to be found. It was just, you couldn't find it. So I think it's awesome that, as you said, people are kind of learning that it's okay to let your weird flag fly. It's okay to express yourself. And it's become like very much more accepted, which I think is awesome.
Agreed.
Now, you had also mentioned that you guys also carry some kitchen stuff. So you guys, whoa, what are you doing, computer? I'm sorry about that. Getting weather updates on my phone. You guys also carry like aprons for cooking, and you've got the mugs too, and those are really fun. And again, those were things that are still even not easy to find. So I love the fact that you utilize all these fun, spooky fabrics to create these wonderful little items that make our weird little hearts happy.
Very happy. A lot of stuff we have are from custom fabrics, so chances are you're not going to find it in the real world, I like to say. There are other makers who probably shop from the same brands that I do as far as fabric goes, but in the real world, you're not going to find a lot of what we make, which I think is pretty cool. It makes it a bit special for whoever's buying it, because it's not available in mass and bulk. There are only a few, so if you have one, it's pretty unique.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to go into Target and find that one little bag that has like all the slashers on it, because you have that in the shop. You've got cute little bags, and you have the side bags and the big bags, and some of them are like a plethora. So you've got like Freddy and Jason and Pennywise is on there, and you've got stuff from like urban legends, which you can't, it's hard to find stuff with urban legends on it, which I think is awesome that you guys have that kind of thing in your shop.
Yeah, there are a handful of, I've noticed when it comes to, I want to say, killer clowns, Trick or Treat, even though I feel like he's becoming a bit more popular with Pumpkin Sam.
Oh, absolutely.
Those are two of the, I would say, lesser known maybe, that are pretty hard to find, that we really try to work on and make stuff for.
Yeah. Because
all the time we get people who come in and like, oh my gosh, how do you have this? I've never seen this in a store, or no one makes stuff for this. And just like, well, they probably should, but we try to cover it as much as we can.
See, and that I think is one of the huge things about your shop that really sets it apart from a lot of other stores. Now, granted, I've got a few people in the chat saying hello. I know my husband mentioned Etsy and how it almost like paved the way for people to be able to make homemade items and to sell them, and for people to really embrace and realize that their neighbor Sally is making these amazing handmade bags and she sells them. So now,
Mm-hmm.
you come along and you're like, I'm open up a shop. I'm going to have a physical store. I'm not just going to be an online shop. And I think that that's a huge step. And I think it's awesome. I have creative ideas, but I don't execute them well.
Well, I will say it took a lot of planning because I would say I started in 2016. 2016 me did not think I'd be here having a physical store. So it's pretty exciting. I did start on Etsy myself.
Oh,
I
nice.
think I was there for maybe 2 years or so, and then I set up my own website, and I've been doing that ever since. But honestly, it wasn't in the plans to open like a physical store. When I went to school, I got 2 degrees. They're not related to business at all. I had no idea this is what I'd be doing, and I'm not mad at it. It's just I can't even, I don't know where to begin as far as like a plan. There was none, but I'm very excited to have gone as far as I have.
I think it's fantastic. Now, I have to ask this question because you've got a lot of things, not only in the shop, but you also create a plethora of items. Is there anything that you have that is like your absolute favorite thing to make?
I think that varies from week to week because a lot of times we rotate like what we're doing and we use new patterns and make new stuff. I would say right now, my favorite thing to make, and I wish I had one in front of me, are our Lola handbags. We are making more though. So in the next, I'd say 2 weeks, keep an eye if you're following. Um, it's a really cute purse, so cute. You hardly see the style in store. And so those we're working on a new batch of. We haven't had one for, it's been quite a while. Customers do ask for them a lot, but they do take quite a bit of time to put together. And so I'm trying to work on a huge batch of them for those who have been asking. So those are coming soon.
Well, I was going to ask you, what type of time goes into making something like one of the smaller Lola handbags? Because that, I'm sure, you've got your labor hours in, and you're between having to like thread your needles and then buying the supplies for it and then working out what pattern you want to use. So how long does something like that actually take you to make? Like, what are the man hours?
Factoring in like literally from start to finish, there's getting the fabric. That's a few hours in itself. And then cutting. That is the most time consuming part. Cutting down the pieces, even if there aren't a ton, you also have to cut interfacing. And so interfacing is basically what you use to stabilize the bag, to give it its shape and structure so it actually holds up and looks nice. And so that has to get ironed. So that's another chunk of time. And then my favorite part is the actual sewing. That's not as time consuming as you would think. And so I would say start to finish, if I were to do like a dozen of those bags, it would take maybe a few days.
Okay.
Since when I do a bunch of them at once, you kind of get into a groove, and I sew factory line style. I do the same step for all of them at once.
Okay.
That way it's a little more efficient, and so it's quicker on my end. But from start to finish, it's about a few days, I'd say.
And I mean, you can really tell when you go in and you look at your product. You can really tell that you've taken the time and they're well thought out. Like the designs are well thought out. Everything looks amazing. Everything is functional. I've gotten a few things from you that I absolutely love. I've got a couple of folks chiming in. Rebecca is saying that she loves your tassel shoulder bags and the triple zip crossbodies. Those are her favorites.
I think I know who that is. That's Rebecca, one of my good friends. Yeah, she likes our shoulder bags, which we're working on as well. Might take a little bit before we have new ones again. We just posted a few, but yeah, those have been a good seller lately. Those are pretty large. One of the biggest handbags we carry.
Okay.
And so anyone who needs to take a lot of stuff with them on the go has really been liking those.
Good. Now, have you thought about doing, I didn't see them when I was in shop, so I don't know if maybe you were just out of them, but have you thought about doing like fanny packs? Because I know that's made a big comeback all of a sudden.
So that has been, oh man, that has been on my like forever to-do list for, I would say, at least a year or so. There are so many projects and ideas that I've been meaning to get to. And I have tried patterns for a fanny pack. However, when it comes to construction, There's some patterns that don't quite fit the bill in terms of ease of use or like putting it together efficiently.
Okay.
And so I try to choose patterns that are it's not so much easy but practical,
Yeah.
because the longer something takes, the more I do have to charge for it, because that's labor. And so I don't want to produce something that I know is going to be crazy money,
Right.
while I understand and know that quality takes time and it's worth the money. I don't want to put that burden on customers.
Right.
I try to find something that's a lot more reasonable. So that's something I'm still working on. It is on my to-do for some point, maybe next summer if I don't get to it this season, but it's definitely something we've thought about.
See. And I don't, then that's the thing. I don't think that people realize the time and the effort that it goes into making a bag like a fanny pack, because people look at it and they're like, it's a pretty straightforward and simple design, but when you really look at it, especially from trying to recreate it, it's really not a simple design. And to be honest, most bags aren't.
Yeah, fanny packs in particular are pretty tricky, being that they have several compartments, and the way they're set up, the closure, without getting too technical, it's not the same as a bag with a back and front.
Right.
Back and front is fairly simple. You sew around, you turn, and you're done. But being that it's more three-dimensional, it can be harder to put together neatly without having too much trouble.
Yeah. Right. And that again goes into time, labor. You know, once you get it figured out, and like you said, once you kind of get into that groove, I'm sure it goes a little bit faster.
For sure.
You know, and that I think is true for almost, I'm going to say almost anything when it comes to sewing.
Almost. You got that almost.
Now, I know you've got a variety of different styles and different, you know, from, like I said, from bags to clothing to like coin purses and all the lovely fun things that you guys have. And I know that you're a horror and a sci-fi fan. Where do you mainly draw your inspiration from? Do you lean more towards, you know, horror or more towards sci-fi? Or are you kind of like in that happy in between?
I say I'm more towards horror.
Okay.
I think most of my inspiration comes from, well, okay, for me, long story short, I was the kid who read every Goosebumps book. And so I think that's what started it for me as a kid. And so a lot of what I enjoy watching and making is inspired by nostalgia. Okay. So if it's something I enjoyed back then, I'm still going to love it now. And so you'll find a lot of Goosebumps, a lot of the older slashers on our fabrics, a lot of like jack-o'-lanterns and Beastal Halloween designs. So if it's vintage, if it's got a retro feel, I'm all about it.
Nice. Yay! All the horror things. I love Goosebumps. They were great books when I was younger. I got really into like the Fear Street books by R.L. Stine. Those were some of my favorites. So I can definitely appreciate having that feel for the, you know, I don't want to say old school, but the things that you enjoyed when you were younger.
Younger generation, I think it's old school, but to us, it's just nostalgia.
Now it's like people make us feel like we're the old ladies. You know what I mean? We're like, oh, I remember these. And then kids nowadays look at you like you have three heads and they have no idea what you're talking about.
To them, it's retro, and I don't understand it because it's not that old.
It's really not. But I mean, it will be one day, just not yet.
Not yet. Too soon.
Now, do you have any pieces with you that you can show us and kind of give our viewers an idea of some of the things that they could find in your shop?
Yeah, so I grabbed a few of our wallets. And so this one we like to call the Wendy. And this is the Cass wallet, named after Wendy and Casper. Aww. A lot of our bag styles we name after characters. I think it's kind of like a fun little spin on our styles. And also a lot of our customers remember what I'm talking about when I use names. And so this one is a zombie pinup fabric, which I thought was pretty cool.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I love all things pinup. And so these are pretty popular as far as, I mean, if you want to treat yourself, but also for gift giving. A lot of our customers get these, you throw in a gift card, and that's your gift. And then we've also been working on our small journals. I love making these so much. These are embroidered.
I love that. The old school.
And so it has an elastic, and there's a notebook inside. You can doodle, you can do your grocery list, whatever you need. And so we also have these. We're going to be in the store on Friday this week.
Yes.
And I'm going to be making more for next week as well. So you can expect a handful more.
I'm a big fan of Scooby-Doo, like old school Scooby-Doo, like the print that you have on there. Are you doing handbags in those as well?
I actually did for the Scooby in the Facebook group, if anyone wants to join. We did an auction in a Lola handbag with this fabric. It was one of a kind, and so the winner got the handbag and one of these notebooks.
Oh.
Yeah, I try to do some like fun stuff in the group every now and then for my VIPs, as I call them. They're tuning in and keeping up on the journey with me, so that was fun.
And just to kind of plug that again, you do have a Facebook group, and it's called the Hallow Pumpkin. So get on that Facebook group. You also do like Facebook live sales on Sundays, correct?
Yeah, that's how we do the bulk of our online sales. Every Sunday at about 6:30 Eastern, I hop on live. We have an app, the Hallow Pumpkin, on iOS and Android. It also streams to our website, thehallowpumpkin.com, and it streams to our Facebook page. And so that's where we show new stuff, same way as I would here. Every item has a number. You literally just comment sold in the item, and if it's available, you're quick enough, it's yours, and you check out, and it's a good time. It's really fun because we all get to chat with each other and see what's going on in real time. So I think it's a lot more fun than just posting things on a website and saying, here, go check it out. It's more of a conversation like we're having here.
Yeah, it's interactive, and then it makes, folks that are a fan of your work feel like they're getting to know you and like, friendly. And then of course, that type of interaction is huge because then that's going to make the consumer more apt to purchase something from you because you're a very friendly person. You're super down to earth. You and I can chat for hours about all the things.
Yeah.
So I think that helps. Now I do have a question. So with the online sales, when you've got a product up, so let's pretend. Let's play pretend. So like let's say one of your wallets that you have there. How does that work? Do you normally just like show it and say, hey, I've got this wallet. It's X amount of dollars. And then if they comment in the chat that it's sold, how do they check out to actually make that purchase?
So the cool thing about it is if you're shopping from our app, what you'll do is create a profile. You can do the same on the website. It works the same and either way. However, I would recommend the app simply because it's a quicker, more seamless experience. Okay. But long story short, when you create your profile, it'll automatically read your comment sold with the number and attach that to your account. So if you've gotten the item, it drops it in your cart for you. There's no need to wait for me to invoice or anything like that. You can go ahead and check out, and then I ship your order.
Girl, you are fancy.
I try.
That is some fancy techie stuff. So
it's pretty cool.
If I wanted to, let's say you had a plethora of items and I wanted to buy 5 different items, do I have to check out separately, or will it go ahead and just add them to my cart and I can just purchase them all at once?
Yep, you can do it all at once. And the cool thing is, for example, let's say I go live and afterwards you're like, oh, wait, I wanted that other thing that she showed and I forgot to grab it. If you've already checked out the first time, as long as you check out within a 2-hour window of your first purchase, it won't charge you shipping twice.
Oh,
so that's a cool thing that we have for anyone who may have that FOMO and want to go back for more.
Oh, see, that's awesome. I'm still kind of blown away at the whole, like, commenting that it's sold and then it just, like, dropping it immediately into your shopping cart. Like, that's really awesome. And that's kind of scary because that's a little too convenient, right? Because, like...
Very convenient, yeah. I think I get a lot of people in trouble with their spouses, but...
I'm sure to them it's totally worth it.
I hope so.
Now, a lot of your stuff that you have, not only is it good for the spooky guy or gal at heart, but it's also, you mentioned, great for gift giving. So if you've got a birthday coming up or, whatever holidays you celebrate, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever, and you want to give a gift, or just because, you want to give somebody something, it's definitely a great thing to do because, again, you carry things for adults and for children as well, which brings me to my next question. What kind of pushed you to create things that were more for like the kiddos? And I mean, I'm talking like you've got stuff like toddler age.
Well, it's a combination of two things. One being that I know there's a need for it. I don't really see it out there, so I wanted to fill that void. And also, back in the day, my mom and I would make tutus and onesies for kids. That used to be her shop thing. And so, being that it's something we've dabbled in before, I figured why not bring it back? And so, thus far, we've been doing onesies and little bummies, like the little diaper covers, and they're so cute. And we're hoping to do costumes in the fall. We'll see how that goes as far as time permits. But thus far, we've been doing the little outfits here and there, and they're so cute.
Well, I know that one of the bummies that you had was the cartoon Beetlejuice, which is one of my favorite cartoons. And when I saw that, I lost my mind, and I was like, I have no reason to buy this, but I really want to buy it because of the fabric alone, because, again, that throws it back to that nostalgia feel, and the fact that there's really not much out there that has cartoon Beetlejuice and Lydia on there at all.
Right. Yeah, I think now that Etsy's gained popularity, mostly online is where you'll find custom stuff like that. Yeah. But as far as an in-person experience, I don't think we have much aside from when Spirit opens in like August, September. So again, trying to fill that void there with something for everyone.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned before, you have your own physical store. I've been there. I love it. There's so much stuff in store. I highly recommend going down to check out your shop. Now, where are you guys located, and what are your store hours? Because I know you're only open a couple of days a week.
Yeah, so we're at 20 West Dakin in Kissimmee. It's between Church and Broadway. Right now, our hours are Friday 11 to 4 and Saturday 10 to 4, which I know are a bit odd, but being that we make most of our inventory ourselves, we use the first chunk of the week to work on stuff, and then we put it out every weekend.
Nice. Now, question. Are you doing the majority of the sewing? Because I know you had mentioned, too, that you have some other vendors in there doing sewing things and creating things as well.
So I would say off the top, the bummies, onesies, and shirts we do ourselves. The bulk of bags we do ourselves, though we have a vendor that helps us with those. I can say earrings are different vendors. When it comes to jewelry, I won't take ownership for jewelry. I'm not that good. We've got a great vendor for the bath bombs. Let's see, what else have we got in store? And all the embroidered items I do myself. It's mostly us, but there are a good handful of vendors that we also include. Nice. So I would say 99% handmade as far as everything goes.
First of all, I mean, good for you for being able to continually pump out new product week after week, enough to be able to do both the online stores as well as to stock your shop. Like that, girl, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't carry something and someone is looking for a specific pattern or a specific item, do you do any type of commission work, or do you do specialty requests or anything like that?
We don't take commissions. However, what we generally do if we see there's an uptick in requests for a certain item is offer a sort of pre-order for a selection of fabrics. That way everyone can get in on what they're looking for ahead of time, because usually what we make is quite limited, and so once it sells, that's it. We don't remake too much too often, and so that kind of adds to the one-of-a-kind specialty of the items. But if it's a pre-order and there's something we have, like yards of fabric for that we prepared for, we do pre-orders from time to time. It's something that we post about on the social media channels, so I would definitely give it a follow if you want to look out for that kind of thing.
Okay, and that definitely creates the demand. So, if you've got that specialty fabric that you're like, hey, we're going to do a run of bags and we're only going to have like 10 of these and that's it, that's going to create that want. And then people love like a limited edition or exclusive anything. I'm a fan of those as well. So when they see that, it creates that want and that need to have it. And then, of course, once they get it, they show it off. And then their friends are like, where did you get that? And you're like, oh, it's my one of a kind. But she does other amazing things. So I'm sure that's huge as far as like word of mouth goes and people sharing your things too, and being able to showcase like some of the amazing fabrics that you guys have that you may not see again.
Right. A lot of times we get customers telling us like, hey, I've been giving out your business card, or I went to so-and-so event and people saw this bag, and and then you'll notice like an influx of followers, and it's like, oh my gosh,
Yay!
it's working. The mouth truly does work.
It really does, and it's huge, especially when you're creating stuff and you're, I mean, any business really, and especially when it comes to small businesses, word of mouth is huge. And I feel like it, to some degree, that can almost make or break your business.
For sure, yeah. That's pretty much, I think, what launched my business when I first started. I was only on Instagram for maybe a year or two. I hadn't even touched Facebook. I didn't want to overwhelm myself since I wasn't too familiar with it. And so, I really relied on word of mouth. And then I ended up on Facebook after some time. And so that's really how it works. You really have to, pro tip for business owners, tell people. Like, you can't really expect sales if you haven't told anyone, if you haven't shared. So a lot of it is showing off the merch, or how it can be used, or where you might be able to use it, or like a con you can take it to, stuff like that. Yeah. And so once people see it and they've got the idea in their heads, like, oh, I need this for that event, or I can take this with me to Universal Horror Nights, and then it's like, oh, they've got to have it.
So have you thought about doing any Horror Nights geared items? I know that's like, I mean, Horror Nights is coming up like fast. They've announced what, like 2 houses, I think. We got Halloween and then the Universal Monsters house, which I'm very excited about both.
I'm very excited. Oh my gosh. So I've actually ordered some Universal Monsters fabric, so you can expect some monster stuff coming up for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. That's exciting. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out, because I'm a sucker for anything as far as like the Universal Monsters goes, any of the classic horrors.
I don't know if you can tell, I've got them behind me.
Yes.
My wall.
So it's safe to say you're a big fan as well.
Yeah, I would say Frankenstein's probably my favorite, but as far as movies go, I love The Wolfman. That one I can watch endlessly. I don't know what it is about it, but I love Wolfman. And so it's a huge, I don't know what it is, because those movies came out forever ago, and it's like a nostalgia that we weren't around to witness, but still there's something that's just so cool about them, and I love them.
It's something magical. And then look at, like, even from the makeup and the special effects standpoint, some of the things that they were creating back then with the limited items that they had, and I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and say it was not the safest material that they were using, that created issues for some people, but the things that they were able to create back then, even in black and white, is astounding.
Yeah, I've always thought that to myself also about the Munsters when it came to their makeup. I would notice that as I watched episodes, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this was literally half a century ago, if not more, and it looks pretty good. Like, it's not bad.
Yeah, and it's not CGI. It's not digital. Like, it's literally like, this is them putting makeup together and putting the looks together and the costuming and everything else, and it just, the Munsters is awesome. Okay, so what do you think about Rob Zombie's remake of the Munsters? Are you looking forward to it?
I want to see it. I'm curious to see how it goes. I'm very excited because I think the Munsters is one of the genres within spooky, within horror, that's not as popular as it should be.
Yes.
So I think it'll set a light on it for sure, and I'm hoping it goes well. I think it'll be well received.
I mean, from some of the stills I've seen, and even from that like quick teaser trailer that they released, like, I'm excited. And I'm very curious to see how this is gonna go, because Rob Zombie's movies are very much like vulgar and explicit, and I'm really curious to see the other side of him that's not as vulgar and crazy, that's gonna be a little bit more tame to a degree, because it's gonna be a little bit more family friendly.
Right, that's what I was wondering myself, so I'm very excited to watch it.
Yes, I'm very, very curious. I've got a couple of people chiming in the chat room. They can't wait to watch Rob Zombie's Monsters either. See, I need to figure out how to do maybe like a watch party or something to show that. I think that would be a lot of fun. But that's going to be cool. Now, do you have any type of, so on all the fabrics, back to your amazing store and the things that you make. I got sidetracked. I'm sorry. Do you have any like favorite fabrics that you've worked with or that you're currently working with?
Oh boy, that's hard because I have a lot of favorite fabrics. I would say anything to do with the Universal Monsters for sure. It's a love-hate relationship because there are fabrics that are so cool that I don't want to touch them, but I also want to make things out of them because they would be like amazing. And so it's one of those things where I have a collection that I don't touch. So I have to get extra that's allowed for use, and then some that's for a rainy day that I don't touch, so I know I still have it. But overall, I think my favorite fabrics are the Universal Monsters that I've worked with, and a lot of the mashup fabrics that I've used. So there are some where it's like Stitch as Beetlejuice, or Stitch as what's the other one? I forget who. I think he's dressed up as different slashers. Okay. And it's just so fun because it's like it's an idea that maybe some of us might have thought of but never saw put to paper, and someone took the time to draw that out, and it's a lot of fun. It's very exciting to me.
Those I've seen some of those in your shop, and I've also seen like the Disney princesses reimagined to be horror icons, like Hell Priest or Freddy Krueger or Jason or Mike Myers, and those are a lot of fun too.
Yeah, it's definitely a different take on the princesses for sure. I think it's pretty cool. It's very imaginative.
Yes, I'm a big fan of those. So, okay, I've got a couple of more questions for you as we're chatting. And I know we kind of talked a little bit about okay, so we've got a couple of people that just chimed in that ask what you make.
I make a lot of things. Make bags, shoulder bags, duffel bags. We do wallets. What else have we got in the store? We have got smaller crossbody. So bags and accessories in a nutshell. We also do t-shirts. We do the onesies and bummies for kids, and then we stock other items from other vendors when it comes to like Bath and Body, jewelry. But as far as what I make personally, it's the bags and accessories.
And they're all like, most of them are like spooky and horror themed, or they have that spooky and horror twist to them, which I love. Anytime I can find spooky things, it doesn't matter what it is, it just makes my little heart so happy.
Exactly.
Now, we did talk about favorite movies a little bit. So one of your favorites, of course, is The Wolfman, as far as like classics go. Do you have a more current horror film that you're a fan of? One that maybe you can watch like over and over again that you just kind of find enjoyment in?
I would say there's a lot. But I think the one right now that I enjoy the most because it spooked me the most was The Conjuring. I don't get spooked very often, but that one, I think it was the first one. Okay. I love that series, actually, believe it or not.
Look, I'm a big fan of the series, too. We saw The Devil Made Me Do It, the last one, in theater, and I think that was the best one out of that whole series. In my opinion, that was my favorite out of that. Was so just dark. That one was much darker.
Yeah. Dark is the word. Very dark.
It went dark quick too, because it's like, oh, everybody's happy and they've got roommates, and then all of a sudden it's just like slaughter, and it just goes like to a whole other world of what is going on. So I'm a fan of those movies as well. I do love them. The actors are phenomenal. I would love to meet any of them. They do just awesome work. I absolutely love them. And there's a little bit of a creep factor to some of them. Like, I don't know what it is. Right? Because, like, everybody kind of has that genre or that type of film that creeps them out. Whether it's, like, paranormal stuff, supernatural stuff, zombies, vampires, werewolves, whatever.
Yeah, for me, it's for sure. I can take slashers all day. I can take killer clowns. I have no problem. But if it's paranormal, it's a little iffy.
Well, it's funny, too, because, like, they had the whole Paranormal Activity series, and there's, like, 6 of them at this point, I think?
6 or 7?
There's a lot. Like, I know they just came out with a new one, and my husband picks on me, because they're kind of like my guilty pleasure. I love all of them. They're not the best of films, but I love every single one of them, and I will binge watch all of them, just because I feel that need. But there is something about that. The thing that's tormenting you that you can't see, and there's like nothing you can do about it, and it's just that it's where in your mind you kind of create that monster, right? So
I think like the terror behind it, the sense that it could very well happen to you, God forbid, that's a little more ominous, and it gives you the chills, like you're actually afraid while you're watching a movie that you know isn't real, but it changes things.
Absolutely. And it goes back to that, to your point, where, well, this could happen to me. And I mean, I know there are some people out there that don't believe in the paranormal, and they're just like, whatever, it's a hoax. And look, I get that, and I respect you people that have that thought process. I am not one of them. I have experienced things and seen things that are just spooky, and things have happened to me. I am a firm believer in it. So when I watch films like that, they do creep me out a little bit more than watching a slasher or watching a zombie movie or watching just a gore fest. Like those to me, I can eat dinner and watch them and just be totally fine. But when it comes to like spooky movies, like in the paranormal genre, it adds more of a scare factor to it, and I definitely do enjoy those a lot more.
For sure.
Now, all right, the most important question. This is my question that kind of lets me get to know you without really like asking super personal questions, like that deep dive into like, what was your childhood like, or anything like that. But I have to ask this: what is your favorite Halloween candy?
Let's narrow it down. I'm gonna have to say I'm a very big fan of sour stuff, and so if I had to be specific, Sour Patch watermelon or the blue ones.
Ooh, those are good.
Those are delicious. I could eat them all.
Those are tasty. Okay, so I'm gonna ask a follow-up question to this, because I've been doing kind of a poll lately, and I've been getting some surprising answers to this question. What are your feelings on candy corn? Are you pro or are you against it? Because I feel like there's no middle ground.
So I guess I'm pro, because I don't think they're gross. However, I can't have too many.
Okay.
Or I think it's the sweetness or the texture. I can enjoy a few and then that's it. But I will never be a person who downs a whole bag. It's too much. It'll last the whole year. If I buy it, it'll sit there. It's too much for me, but I don't hate it.
Okay. So maybe we have found that middle person then. You are a unicorn, because most people either absolutely love it or hate it. And my amazing husband is commenting in the comment section that candy corn belongs in the trash. Which...
No, it doesn't.
It's
not. It's not that bad.
It does not. Candy corn is probably one of my top favorite Halloween candies, personally. I am that person that can eat an entire bag. Like, I'll buy it and I'll just sit there and eat it, and I don't stop eating it, and then I'm just full on sugar rushed, and that's it.
Too much. I think I'm getting old because it's too much sugar for me. I can't handle it.
I can't handle it, but that does not stop me. Because the bag is there and it's open and I'm going in. And there's a few people in the chat room that are loving some candy corn. Thank you, guys. See, we're not that weird.
Will say a few years ago, I think it was 2, that M&M's did a candy corn flavored M&M.
Yes.
And those were delicious. Those were
good, and they had like a hint of a candy corn to it. But I think like
candy corn though, but they were so good. And that's what I remember.
They were good. I do love a good M&M. I don't even care what flavor it is. They're all delicious. And that's the same thing with M&Ms. You open the bag and it doesn't end until the bag is gone for me. Oh my goodness. My husband needs to stop. He's like, "Oh, black licorice is gross."
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm with you on that one. Licorice is not my favorite.
I like the red. The black licorice, I don't know what they put in it, but it's disgusting. They need to put some better flavoring in there, because that flavor is just gross.
I feel like no matter what flavor I've tried, it all tastes like fruity plastic, and I just can't. I can't. I've tried, but I don't. Twizzlers, no matter the brand, I don't like it.
Okay, listen, that's fair. Everybody has that candy that they dislike, and I completely respect that. I have some that I can deal with, and some I can't have it. I just can't. But I appreciate you coming on and for chatting with us this evening. And again, your business is called the Hallow Pumpkin. You've got an amazing Facebook group, and you do live sales on Sundays on your Facebook group. And I apologize, it was 6:30 p.m. Eastern?
Yep, 6:30 Eastern.
Yay! So make sure that you join her group. Again, that's the Hallow Pumpkin. Follow her on all the social medias. Buy some bags. Go to the store. Your shop is... I'm going to say this, and I say this a lot. It's super cute, and it really is. I love it. Everything is so neatly and meticulously put in. It's super easy to find things, which just makes me happy because I really do hate trying to hunt for things. So the shop is just, it's awesome. It's got a nice little spooky feel to it. I love it. I can't wait to come back and visit you guys. Next time I'm down in the Kissimmee area. And you guys are kind of off like the main strip too.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got
right off of...
You got some good real estate there, lady.
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
You really did. And plenty of parking too, which is nice.
Yes, that's something that was a must-have for me when I was looking for a space, because if I can't find a spot, I'm gonna be upset.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like it's weird. Like some of the stores, there's no parking. I'm like, where do you park if you're working there?
Mm-hmm.
So for you, you have like parking out in front of the shop. There's parking on the side streets. It's super easy to access. I mean, literally there's parking everywhere, so that's never going to be an issue. But yeah, check out the website. Check out the Facebook group. Join it. Buy all the things. And make sure you're following the social media. And go visit Yolexis in person. And say hello and shop and spend your money. Because all right, girl, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. And we'll chat with you soon. Me. All right, boys and girls. So next week, next Wednesday, we have our friends on from Spooky Cat Press. We're going to have Sandy and Terrence Haran on. They're going to be talking about their business. They sell amazing spooky birthday cards, cards for all of the holidays. They're usually empty so that you can pre-fill them in. They're amazing. Absolutely love them. And they will be at Spooky Empire coming up this weekend. And we will be there as well. So thank you guys as always for tuning in. And until next time, boys and girls, keep it spooky. Bye.